Hello and welcome to King's Orchard Marina in Lichfield. I used to moor here. I turned up for a winter mooring in November 2019 and then of course the world shut down. Stayed for 2.5 years. It feels like I've come home. I'm here to look at an electric day boat. Now I have done electric canal boats on the channel before. I'll leave a link to those videos in the description below. But by and large they were people's boats that they lived on or holidayed on. So they were full-length boats with cabins and everything that you could stay aboard overnight. I've also shown hire boats, but again, similar sort of thing, full size, and I've shown day trip boats where you are taken out as a passenger. But today I'm looking at a day hire boat. That is to say, a boat you can hire just for the day, and it is fully electric, and it's the first one of those that I've done.
This is what a typical day hire boat looks like. They're generally quite short. This one's 36 feet long, and the bulk of the space is given over to a huge socialising area, both in an open well deck and a small covered cabin. They're often hired for people's birthday parties or office events or even stag and hen do's. At the back there's again an open social cruiser type stern.
Day boats are really popular with people that are thinking of maybe buying a boat, thinking of having a holiday on a boat, but they want to obviously just get a feel for it and see how it is for a day. Also really popular with people that are having celebrations, and it's just a lovely day out really. It's seating outside, seating inside, small kitchenette area and a toilet, so there's no beds on board.
That kitchenette includes a microwave, a fridge and a kettle, so passengers have no shortage of catering options. But it's the propulsion that sets this day boat apart, an electric motor from Beta Marine. There's no diesel engine, not even a generator as backup.
We played around with a few different sizes and we came up with a 14 kilowatt, which is then powered by 2 banks of 48 volt lithium batteries, which is a total of 400 amp hours at 48 volts, which gives us around 20 kilowatt hours. Bearing in mind that everything internally is electric, including kettles, induction hobs, microwaves, that sort of thing. Heating is also electric. We're quite confident we can do a good day's cruise on a full charge, for a pleasant day's cruise for the customers to have stop for lunch and then cruise back. We feel that would be a good 7 hours cruise.
The reason the boat gets away with being pure electric is because as a day boat, it will always return to the marina each night.
It will come back onto the mooring, the cleaners will obviously clean it, and then before we leave we'll plug it into the landline. From 80% discharge to 100% charge takes approximately 7 hours, which is a perfect opportunity for us to have it recharged during the night. So by the time the customers arrive the following morning, the battery bank's fully charged, ready to go.
That overnight plug-in is also used to heat a huge tank of hot water, which would otherwise be too much for the batteries. There's solar on the roof, but it's really just a bit of a bonus, a trickle charge on any sunny days.
We came up with the flexible version, the 250 watt panels, giving us 300 watts of solar, which will never recharge the battery bank, but it just tops it up as we're going. When we have some nice sunny days, you get quite a lot of charge into the system, so it was worthwhile doing it. The other thing that we've done as well is on this first vessel we've got Wi-Fi on board. Because we are using a lot of the Victron energy equipment, we'd like to communicate it with the VRM, which is the remote portal which Victron use, so we can actually monitor from our offices what the vessel's actually doing, live data, so we can see how the batteries are being discharged and whatnot. So it's a great feature to have, so we can keep a close eye on what's happening with the system.
One really cunning element of the design is that Dave worked closely with Beta Marine to make sure the new motor would fit exactly on the existing size of bearers, with thoughts of the older fleet in mind.
We have a lot of day boats with diesel engines, and we thought if we were going to go down this route, what happens in the future? What about the existing boats? So Beta and ourselves decided what we'd do is we'd design it on the same footprint as the diesel engine. So if we ever wanted to change the existing boats to electric, we could retrofit it with the same footprint motor and just drop it in, and then obviously put the battery bank in and away you go. So it's quite simply to retrofit if we had to.
But what is the driving experience like?
It's different. I found it very strange in you're hearing noises underneath the vessel that you wouldn't normally hear with a diesel engine, because it's so quiet. You can literally just hear the wash of the propeller. It takes a lot of getting used to if you're a diesel fanatic. It's just something that you've got to get your mind round. But once you get used to it, it's quite pleasant. It really is pleasant.
That's all the technicalities dealt with, but I know what you're wondering. What is it like to drive and as a passenger? There's only one way to find out.
And so Dave untied the line at the bow and he did the same again at the stern. Then it was time to hear the roar of the mighty Beta Marine power unit.
OK, Dave, let's fire this baby up.
Right, let's do it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Only once you push the throttle joystick forward does any noise emerge, partly from the motor, but more so from the propeller just beneath where you stand at the back of the boat. On a calm day in particular, it is a slightly eerie experience.
Isn't that just amazingly quiet? No burble of a diesel, just a very, very slight whine from the drive belt inside the motor housing.
Apparently, the noise isn't even the motor, it's a belt which acts as a simple 2-to-1 drive reduction so as not to have the propeller turning too fast. We headed out of the marina. Good thing it has a horn, as you'd never hear this coming. Dave put the boat into standard day hire mode, full thrust.
For passengers in the big well deck, you can just hear the motor, but the biggest thing you can hear is the bird song and the splosh of the water against the hull.
There was a sudden alarming sound of water, but it's okay, it was the bilge pump working exactly as it should. The fuel gauge is a battery meter like on your phone, with bars of charge left and a percentage readout. The main control panel shows how many revs the engine is doing and, interestingly for geeks like me, the amperage being drawn from the battery bank. The faster you go, the more amps are drawn. This is converted by the system into an estimated cruising time left, which will go down as you speed up. I was steering and we approached a moored boat, which led to a peculiar realisation.
It turns out that without the rumble of the engine, it's surprisingly hard to judge your speed. I always did used to use the towpath as a reference, but even more so now on this. And particularly when trying to judge for going past moored boats, you just don't get that same sense of tick over that you would on a diesel engine.
The trick is to look at the towpath and estimate what walking speed you're doing. I also took to looking at the bow wake to see if it was likely to disturb the moored boats. past the pub. And here's the end of the Lichfield Canal, the rest of which is under restoration. We went onwards past here for another hour or so, through the lovely village of Whittington and all the way to the winding hole at Tamhorn Farm Bridge. It may look calm, but there was a very gusty wind blowing. And as you will know if you watched my Q&A video before this one, it was at this point that a particularly evil gust of wind blew the camcorder into the canal. That clunk and the commotion was the exact moment it happened. I have since been back to this spot, stripped down to my underpants, climbed into the freezing cold canal and prodded around with a large net, but to no avail. A massive thank you to the lovely folk on this boat who gave me tea and let me dry by their fire after my fishing expedition. If you're wondering where this footage came from with the camera sunk, I filmed again a few days later, with thanks to Dave and ABC Hire for letting me have the boat and their time once more. It says much about the quiet of the electric motor that the noisiest thing here is the exhaust from this boat's diesel heater. We were nearly back at the marina. It's surely inevitable that electric boating is going to become the norm, with diesel reserved for historic and vintage engines. Yes, there are concerns about battery chemicals and technology, as well as how all the power can be generated for cars and boats going electric, but these issues will be overcome. And quite apart from any green notions, surely it's better that pollution from combustion engine exhausts is eliminated, giving cleaner air along the canals. Like it or not, it's the future. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.